Our next panelist is Santosh.
Good evening. For the first and foremost, I would like to congratulate Brother Blake and Sister Sarah. I'm congratulating them. The reason is because most of the people blindly follow their parents' faith. Most of the Christians are Christians because their father was Christian. Most of the Muslims are Muslims because their father was Muslim. Most of the Hindus are Hindus because their father is Hindu. But these people, people, they wanted to, challenge the idea of their ancestors. So, that takes a courage. So I would like to congratulate them. Another reason why I congratulate them is because they already believe there is no God. And that is one of the part of the Islamic testimony of faith. We believe there is no God but Allah, or Jehovah, or Yahweh. There is no God but only one God, the true God. So half of my job is already done because they already believe half of the Islamic testimony of faith. So all I need to do now is just to convince them half of the testimony of faith, and which I will do, God willing. First question I would like to ask them, suppose there is an equipment, a machine. This equipment in the world, no one in the world has ever seen. If it's brought in front of you guys, who will be the first to tell us the mechanism of this machinery? The reply probably would be the creator, the inventor, producer. Whatever we may call it, it is somewhat similar. Either we say the creator, the manufacturer, the producer, the inventor. It is somewhat somewhat brings down to there should be a creator of that thing. The science will say there was a primary nebula and there was a big bang called the secondary separation, which gives rise to galaxy, the sun, the moon, and the earth, which we call Big Bang. We came to know that 30 to 40 years back, the scientists discovered this. What we are really talking about Big Bang is already mentioned in the Quran. The chapter 21, verse 20. Do not the unbelievers see the heavens and the earth were joined together and we close at the center. It is already mentioned in the Quran 1400 years ago. Who could have mentioned that? And the light of the moon is not its own light. Previously we thought the moon has its own light. Recently we came to know 100 to 200 years ago that the light of the moon is not its own. It's not its own. It's a reflected light. The Quran mentions that 1400 years ago on the chapter 25 verse 61. The blessed is he who has placed the constellation in the sky and placed therein the sun having its own light and the moon having the reflected light, a borrowed light. The Arabic word used for moon light is munir or nur, meaning the reflected light. Who could have mentioned that in the Quran 1400 years ago? That the light of the moon is the reflected light. The world we live in is spherical. When did we come to know that? It was in the year 1597, Sir Francis Drake, when he sailed around the world, he proved the earth is spherical. The Quran says 1400 years ago in chapter 79, verse 30, the Arabic word derived here is duya. It refers to the egg of ostrich. As we know, the world is not geospherical in shape, it is flat in the pole. If we analyze the egg of ostrich, it is the geospherical in shape and flat in the top. So who could have mentioned that 1400 years ago? Only Allah, God, Jehovah, Yahweh could do that. let's go to the theory of probability. In the mathematics, there is a theory known as the theory of probability. If we have two options, out of which one is right and one is wrong, the chances are that you will choose the right one is half. That is 1 out of 2, which is the correct. You have 50% chance of being correct. Similarly, if you toss a coin, the chances that you guess will be correct 50%. 1 out of 2. That is 1 out of 2 of your toss a coin. The second time, the chances that you will be correct in the second toss is again 50%, that is half. But the chances that you will be correct in both the tosses in half, multiplied by half, which is equal to 1 by 4, that is 0.5, 50% of 50%, which is equal to 25%. If we toss a coin the third time, the chances that you will be correct all three times is 1 by 8. That will be 12.5%. A dice has 6 sides. If you throw a dice and guess any number between 1 to 6, the chances that your guess will be correct is 1 by 6. If you throw a dice the second time, the chances that your guess will be correct in both throws is 1 by 6 times 1 by 6, which is equal to 1 by 36. If you throw the dice the third time, the chances that all your guesses are correct all three times is 1 by 6 times 1 by 6 times 1 by 6. That is 1 by 256. That is less than even 0.5%. Let us apply this theory of probability to the Quran and assume that the person has guessed all the information that is mentioned in the Quran, which was unknown at that time. Let us discuss the probability of all guesses being simultaneously correct. At the time when Quran was revealed, people thought the world was flat. There are several other options for the shape of the earth. It could be triangular, it could be quadrangular, pentagonal, hexagonal, heptagonal, octagonal, spherical. Let's assume that there are about 30 options for the shape of the earth. The Quran rightly says it's spherical. If it was a guess, the chances of the guess being correct was 1 by 30%. The light of the moon can be its own or the reflected. The Quran rightly says it is a reflected light. If it was a guess, the chances that it will be correct is 1 by 2. And the probability that both guesses that earth is spherical and the light of the moon is reflected is 1 by 30 times 1 by 2. That will be 1 by 60. Further, the Quran also confirms every living thing is made up of water. Every living thing can be made up of either wood, stone, copper, aluminum, steel, silver, gold, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, like oil, water, cement. The options are, say, about 10,000. The Quran rightly says that everything is made up of water. If it is a guess, the chances that it will be correct is 1 by 10,000. And the probability of all three guesses that the earth is spherical, light of moon is reflected light, and everything is created from water being corrected is 1 by 30 times 1 by 2 times 1 by 10,000. So it will be 1 by 60,000, which is equal to 0.0017. The Quran speaks about hundreds of things that were not known to man at the time of its revelation. Only in 3 options the result is 0.017. I leave it up to you to work out the probability. If all the hundreds of unknown facts were guesses, the chances of all of them being correct were guesses. The chances of all being the correct guesses simultaneously and there being not a single wrong guess. It is beyond human capacity to make all corrected guesses without a single mistake, which itself is sufficient to prove to a logical person that the origin of the Quran is divine. The only logical answer to the question as to who could have mentioned all these scientific facts 1400 years ago before they were discovered is exactly the same answer initially given by the atheist or any person to the question, who will be the first person who will be able to tell the mechanism of the machinery? The creator, the producer, the manufacturer of the whole universe and its contents. In English language, he is God. In Arabic, he is Allah. Let me remind you that the Quran is not a book of science, S-C-I-E-N-C-E. It's a book of science, S-I-G-N-S. The Quran contains more than 6,000 signs, out of which more than 1,000 speaks about science. I'm not trying to prove that the Quran is the word of God using scientific knowledge as a yardstick, because any yardstick is supposed to be more superior than what is being checked or verified. For us Muslims, the Quran is the Furqan, that is the criteria of judge. Criteria to judge from right from wrong, and the ultimate yardstick which makes more superior to scientific knowledge. Francis Bacon once said, "The little knowledge of science makes man an atheist, and an in-depth study of science makes him a believer in God." So we should not be like they say, an atheist is one who believes himself as an accident. So let's come back to our Creator who created us, and let's worship Him. Thank you.